It's time for Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Trevor Thompson of Fox Sports Detroit. How's it going, Trevor?
It's going a little chilly if you want the truth, but it's good. It's good to have this refreshing fall weather, I guess, as the seasons change. It's just too bad we're not at in Traverse City now for Wings training camp. That would be even better.
No, I keep getting the memories pop up on my phone, but I mean, let's dive in first and talk about baseball a bit, then we'll get into hockey. All right, so we know the Tigers just wrapped up their season on Sunday. This was a weird one, only a 60-game season, but what are some of your takeaways of the team as a whole?
I thought they were very competitive. I thought that when you look at some of the players they've got coming, there's a sense of light at the end of the tunnel. There's an excitement around some of these young players that the Tigers have. You look at what Tarek Skubal was able to do this year, and it was very impressive on them. You get excited about that. Casey Mize, you get excited about the glimpses of brilliance you saw from him, although I think we all would agree, and he would agree as well, that he would like to have had some better numbers across the board, but it's exciting to watch him. And then you see what Willie Castro was able to do. You get excited about his future, and Harold Castro's as well. And then in the bullpen, you see a guy like Brian Garcia, a former college closer, showing he can close. And then you've got a Gregory Soto who shows he's got some back end of the bullpen stuff working for him. And then you see Miguel Cabrera have a resurgence like he did at the end of the season. Nothing but excited for spring training to begin.
Okay, so now that we got an assessment of the team as a whole, I want to dive into some different areas on the team. First, the starting rotation, which was not very strong this season. What do you think the issue was there?
Well, certainly you want your ace of the staff, Matthew Boyd, to have a better season than he did. He never really seemed to be able to get into a rhythm, the rhythm that we've seen from him. He was searching all season long, it seemed. So you want to start right there. He needs to be the leader and the ace that he wants to be and the guy that you kept him around to be and help lead some of these younger guys. So you start right there off the hop. But then you look at a guy like Casey Mize when he came up. He showed that he's really got some great stuff, but he struggled learning how to put it all together at the big league level. So you see where he's at on the learning curve right there. And you would hope that he can take some steps in the offseason to perfect a couple of his pitches and get them to work at the major league level and learn how to use them against both lefties and righties at the plate. Spencer Turnbull, you've got to be happy with what you saw from him in that starting rotation. He led the team in wins. He certainly showed some growth, but he has to because he's past the age of a prospect now. You need him to be a solid middle of the rotation guy, and I think that he proved he can certainly be that. But when you look at the young guys coming up, you look at a Skubal and what he was able to do, you can be nothing but excited for this kid. He's got an electric arm coming from the left side with gas. There's a guy that can be a front of the rotation guy. You see it right now. You just can't wait for that guy to develop. So in that starting rotation, you need to come a couple of your veterans to step up a little more, but you're excited about what the youth is going to provide.
Okay, so let's touch a little more on the big league debuters, from Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize this season. Are these players that we'll be seeing for years to come? We're in the All English D.
Oh, absolutely. These guys are going to be front of the rotation guys, possibly future all-stars in this league, and certainly household names, and people are going to pay to come out and see them here in the city of Detroit as they continue to grow. And Tarek Skubal, this guy, he's just electric, and for where he was taken in the draft, I think you certainly got great value out of him. And Casey Mize, when you take a kid like that at the top of the draft, you're certainly excited about what he's got talent-wise. It's just a matter of getting it out of him. Him developing that confidence at that level and finding out how his stuff can play at the big league level. And when we went over the starting rotation, we're certainly remiss to not mention Michael Fulmer coming back off of that knee injury and the Tommy John surgery. Baby steps. So it was good for him to have a short season to get himself worked back into the mix.
Two more guys who made their big league start. We had Daz Cameron and Isaac Paredes. Do you think this is the future core group of the Tigers?
They simply have to be a part of your future in order for this rebuild to be successful. And I think they showed that they can be with what we saw from them this year. Paredes came up, immediately started swinging a hot bat, played a very solid third base for you. And then Daz Cameron came up. It took him a minute to find his footing, but once he did, he took off. He looks like a big league player at the plate and in the field. And they have to be because you've got other versatiles like a Willie Castro, Jamer. So when you've got that versatility, you're just finding homes for these guys. They can continue to be placed in one spot, know where they're going to play when they show up at the ballpark, and be your core group leading this rebuild into back to the playoffs for the Tigers. Love what I saw from those guys. Very encouraged and can't wait to see them grow as Detroit Tiger players.
Love it. Okay, now I need to know to wrap up the Tigers question. How the season is over. Can you tell me who is your Tigers? A, Rookie of the Year, B, Most Improved Player, and then C, MVP?
Rookie of the Year, I'm going with Willie Castro. As far as your MVP goes, wow. The way he wound up the end of the season, I've got to give it to Miguel Cabrera. He led this team. He was a veteran to be. His bat heated up, and he showed that he's had a bit of a resurgence. And I think that is what you need from a guy that you're paying that kind of money to, first of all, but that he is Miguel Cabrera, and he showed up to be Miguel Cabrera at the end of the year. And I think if you're looking at most improved player, Victor Reyes for me is now a linchpin, a guy who can play center field for you if Jacoby Jones isn't going to be healthy, but he certainly has one of those outfield positions locked down. But from a Rule 5 player to a guy you put at the top or the middle of your lineup each and every night, that's my most improved player for the Tigers, Victor Reyes, this season.
I love it. Okay, now switching gears to hockey. Next week, we have the 2020 NHL entry draft with the Red Wings at pick number 4. What do you think fans can expect out of Steve Yzerman?
They can expect a very solid pick and a guy who is going to be a part of the future of the Red Wings in a very big way. There's a lot of talent at the top end of the draft right now, Carley, and Steve Yzerman is a great talent evaluator, simply one of the best talent evaluators out there. When you look at some of the draft picks he made and some of the guys he found on that Tampa Bay Lightning team that just won the Stanley Cup, he gets credit for that. He brought those guys to town. He evaluated that talent. So I think when you look at what Steve Yzerman is able to do as a talent evaluator, as a drafter, as a GM making moves in trades, you can count on him to make the right move each and every time.
Yes, and it gives you hope seeing a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning, who Steve built, win the Stanley Cup. And as Coach Blash says, you got to trust the process. So
exactly.
I understand you, Ken Daniels, Art and Ken Kale, proud of a draft preview special with John Keating. Where can viewers watch that now to hear a more in-depth breakdown of this draft between you guys?
That was certainly a lot of fun, and that's going to appear on Fox Sports Detroit. In that panel, Art Regner brings his energy, Ken Daniels brings his knowledge, and certainly John Keating brings what he brings every night. I just sat back and observed, but that's going to be a lot of fun and a whole half-hour special. And we also take you inside the Red Wings front office and the brain trust, and you hear from Sean Horkoff, and you find out it's not only about this draft, but players in the system where they're at right now, and that's valuable information Red Wing fans are going to want to get as far as him breaking down who's coming next and where they're at on their learning curve as far as NHL prospects goes.
Well, it's been awesome talking Tigers and Red Wings with you. Can't wait for the draft, and I can't wait to hopefully see you soon. Thank you so much, Trevor, for joining me on Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer.